All right, I'll call the meeting to order at 6:05, Monday, March 23rd, 2026, Bristol Selectboard meeting. Approval of agenda. Any changes for tonight's agenda?
Removing 5C, and we'll add the hub teen hubs for applications.
Okay.
As 5C.
All right. So, huh? Let's see. Any other things? Okay. Thank you. If you approve the agenda as changed. 6:05, public forum. Open floor for residents to speak on non-agenda topics. That's 5 minutes. I think Bruce, since we changed the department head, we're updating that. I think this is a perfect spot for you to speak.
If you're ready.
Absolutely. I can show you the map.
I want to take a couple of minutes because I'm sure at this hour attention span isn't as good.
Better now than
That's right.
Better now than sometimes at 10 o'clock. So I don't think there's a lot of people that know what the police district actually looks like. So this is a map. The red area is the perimeter police district. We cover what was the old village. So I wanted to give that people an opportunity to look at that. So the other thing is with Bristol Police, we focus on community policing and working on quality of life issues. One of the things we do a lot of is foot patrol. And one of the reasons we do that, it makes us more visible, and somebody passing through town, I'm easy to recognize. Got a uniform, it's got my name on it, it's got our patch on it. So I found that a lot of the time when I'm out walking, I get stopped, people approach us. One of the biggest things I hear is they like to see police walking the beat. They wish they had that at their where they live. The other thing is they'll ask, where's there a good place to eat? That's usually the second question. Then there's some asking for directions, in certain places. Or I hear about road signs, trees, and all that information I pass on to DPW. I don't get a lot of complaints or a lot of criminal stuff, but we get a lot of quality of life issues that we can have conversations with people. And again, we're more approachable when we're out there walking. And if I happen to see where somebody missed the trash can, I pick up a can or something. I'm amazed at the number of times people will come over and say, "Oh my God, thank you for picking that up." Like, that's what we should be doing. They walk by it. Yeah, some of them walk by it when they see you pick it up, and So anyway, we kind of like the face of the town. People see us, they recognize us, and that's the approach that I continue to promote and push. And again, this is the police district. So, if anybody wants to add anything to it or have any questions, but I want to do a better job of educating the public on what we do and our primary area of coverage.
So it's basically the Lord's Fair Rock over to the top of the hill by the school.
Yes.
And then out to Plank Road.
Just past Plank Road, yes.
And in terms of foot patrol, what areas are you covering?
So I focus on Main Street and surrounding areas. In the nicer weather, I will admit, days like today, I don't walk as far. But if I am out when it's nicer, I will be on Pleasant, Church Street, Garfield. And if there's any kind of event going on, we're down there during the event.
Yeah.
Just so people can see us.
And you meet people on all streets that you patrol?
They usually ask me if I'm lost, if the car broke down, or if I'm saving gas when they send me on some of those other streets. But they're glad to see somebody who's out there walking around.
That's great. So, has anyone ever offered you a bicycle?
No, but I've been offered rides. I've been, do you need a ride back? I'm like, well, if I get another block and I can't catch my breath, I'll let you know.
That's like a lot of concern for your health. And
Well,
well-being.
I've
That's
got
good.
extra weight that I'm
That's true.
carrying, not
Yeah.
just what I gained, but what I'm with the vest and everything else.
So the reason I'm walking is for my health.
Yes,
Don't
that's
give me a
part of it.
ride.
That's great.
Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for this. Yep. Okay.
Is that posted on our website?
Which was,
Is that posted on our website?
can be. I don't know. It probably is somewhere hidden, but we could make it more visible. May not be. Okay. Yeah.
We're gonna add a police engagement.
I know, but
And we'll add-
if they know it's there, then they'll have an idea, you know. I'm sure there are people who thought they were in the district who aren't, and there are people who thought they weren't, that are. Not less of the people who thought they weren't. But who are.
Right. Moving on. Consent agenda. 4A, approval of past meeting minutes, February 23rd. Actually, that's wrong. It's March 9th. That's our last meeting. I don't know if do you guys send any notes for those?
We did the minutes of previous meeting.
Okay, but not for the last one. Right?
No,
Yeah.
we hadn't had the meeting yet.
We're in the meeting.
How do you approve it?
Let me see if anybody.
Michelle said that she thought it was good.
Okay.
Yeah, I signed her.
You know.
Okay, great. All set with that, and then the check warrant. What was the amount for that?
$134,507.27.
Okay. Offer a motion on that.
So move.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. All right, regular business. 5A. This is the West Street Sidewalk Scoping Study. Recommended preferred alternative presentation. Good evening.
Nice to see you.
Yes, and you're in person.
Yes,
Very exciting.
both of us this time.
Uh-oh, he's got an easel.
Yeah. Do you have something? Oh, there we go.
Yes, I just.
We can put it on screen and have it in person.
Donovan Hoff, Madison, in Burlington.
All these fun things.
We'll be moving tonight, so we're plenty of time to. Perfect. You want to share the screen?
Yes, sure.
I think at first we thought this was going to be our final and last time talking with you, but it
Right.
sounds like there's a little more to talk about. So
Yeah.
that is okay. We've done really well on the budget. We're not worried about back doing a little more work,
Right.
some of these. But we thought we'd deliver what we prepared. And then when we get to the parts that we want to talk about, we can talk about those.
Right, and they seem pretty, in terms of those changes, they seem pretty minimal. It's been part of discussions prior to this, so it seems like a fairly easy update.
Yep. Just got some feedback that I think we all wanted to take seriously.
Yeah.
So, of course, the overview of the study. You want to drive through this or do you want? Steal your thunder. Project purpose, right? We wanted to connect the two ends, Holly Hall, the Creamy Stand. Make sure that sidewalk was continuous all the way through. If it was deteriorated, we replaced it. Found a way to get through, the gas station right next to here. That here's pictures of how it was, how it is. So after meeting a few times in public, we came up with 3 alternatives. It's just to fill in the gaps and build something on the gas station. One that was replace deteriorated and filling gaps, and then one that was replacing. And looking at the cost and the need, you know, you don't want to take something out that really isn't that bad. We found that the best bang for the buck was to do replacing anything deteriorated, not replacing everything, just to straighten it out a little bit more. So this was one, and I think you've all seen the report by now. So you've seen those. This was the important part, right? So the costs of just filling in the gaps, doing that, and we say widening, we mean replacing to be wider, you know, just put one extra foot next to your sidewalk that's already there, and then rebuilding everything. So what we call the preferred alternative is not actually any one of these three. It's a little bit of B and a little bit of C. We're not going to widen just to widen, but we're going to do we'll do new sidewalk where it's needed. The part that I think there's still to be talked about, one West Street, that really didn't change the angle or not. We've left it as, for the time being, it stays how it is, but at some point you might change it. But really it's this intersection at Maple Street at the west end where the crosswalk really moves, or the crosswalk stays where it is, and the curve just gets rounded off.
Can you put that in the chat here? Because I can't see what you put.
I was gonna say,
There we go.
Oh, you do have that one. Oh, okay.
so
Ian has control.
So here, right, whether that stays over on this side and it just gets rounded off, so it's not such a long crossing. You don't have someone coming at the same speed able to just really go through the turn if someone's crossing. So that's the part that's still.
Yeah. I mean, our concern, you know, we've talked through this over a number of different sessions, and, you know, we know that the current location isn't the greatest because it's a tree right in the way. It's not preferred by the state. We were lucky enough to have it put in there, even though it doesn't really go to anything on the other side. So it's not state approved, even when they replaced the road, they put that in. So in our discussions, you know, we talked about moving it. In the moving it, it sort of raises other issues in terms of it's now going onto someone's driveway. And so the potential for closing that driveway and putting the crosswalk there was talked about. We received feedback from the property owner who wasn't very excited about that happening just because of the size of the drive, the amount of vehicles that are there, not a great amount of space to be able to work with, would prefer to keep them. And so we started to sort of think back about what are the potentials for keeping it where it is and what we would need to do to make it safer for everyone involved. And the fact that you're already putting in sidewalk there, it seems like we're going to be able to join on to something if we cross the road. And so the main discussion was about the tree and what we would do to sort of mitigate better sight distances, things like that. And it seems like, you know, in our internal discussions, it seems like there's possibilities for that. I've spoken to the property owner on that corner there on that side. I talked about the removal of the tree and what does that mean. And they seemed amenable to that. They did mention that they'd like to have a tree replaced if possible, maybe something smaller growing. And I think that's possible. We have tree grants that we already have and we're applying for in the future to maybe accommodate that. So the potential for taking down a tree, even though we don't like to do that, seems like that is a possibility. What else in terms of your thoughts and discussions you've had with property owners as well?
Can we define, Ian, you said, this is the one we're talking about across, right next to the creamy stand, that property owner? Okay, Cecil. Okay,
Well, it's not a combination, right? So
so which one is we talking?
We're talking about Cecil's Corner. Right?
Cecil's Corner right now in terms of the tree in this location, and we're talking about. Oh, you can't see that. We're talking about the on the other side, essentially the house that says remove secondary driveway. We're also working with that property owner as well. They weren't able to attend the meeting where we had this discussion the last time in presentation, but they did send a detailed letter and feedback to all of us to be able to review and have bunch of ideas and thoughts about that process. Crazy, I don't know if you wanna.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this kind of ties into a larger question on select board policy towards access management. And this is an existing access that's been there for years, Joel. I mean, you said you were,
Used to plow that in the eighties.
yeah, so this is years. I think in moving forward with this project, working with landowners to be the most accepting of projects, without also, we don't wanna, of course, just like, we wanna balance town desires and the landowner desires. I think also the alternative that keeps the sidewalk in its existing location would achieve the goals of this project of connecting safe pedestrian connections. Keeping the location where it is would also make it a state A-OK crosswalk by connecting it to a sidewalk instead of just dumping out into a yard. And I think moving forward, in terms of this project, keeping our goals in mind of creating these connections, with balancing town's own budget, own town plan goals of creating a walkable neighborhood, but then also really hearing this landowner's concerns on the impacts of his property. And I think considering how we were handling the gas station and keeping that in the town right of way, kind of remove this from the conflict points with landowners who've been involved in this project as well. So I think in this project, hearing the concerns of a landowner even is important to take into consideration before moving forward with the final alternative.
Especially because we have options too. It's not like we have only one direction that we can take in terms of making this happen.
Yes, and in my review of the great alternative analysis that y'all did, tree removal was not immediately highlighted. The alternative proposed in alternative B, which would be keeping the sidewalk in its location, proposes bump outs to extend the sidewalk ramps so that there's more visibility. So if the tree does need to come down is a question, but for the sidewalk project, keeping the location where it is still achieves all the project goals would also not completely throw off people's understanding of the traffic flows already. That crosswalk has been there. I've seen people use it,
Good.
which is good. I always wonder where they're going. But
Possibly do that now. So.
possibly to that house. I mean, I've used it in walking around, but I think just moving forward in terms of this project, keeping the landowner concerns in mind, while also we do have options and those options that fully explain or consider.
Jessica, you had a question?
Yeah, I couldn't hear everything that AZ said, so I apologize if I repeat something that you just said. But I was just curious about two things. One is where we could place it that it would be the most safe. And second of all was just about the ability to, if we keep it where it is, the ability to remove that tree because it's so close to the house and the road. I just didn't know what the cost and the difficulty would be in trying to bring a tree like that down.
We're talking the tree on the south side. of the
That
house.
northwest side, southwest corner. The one
Yeah.
right on, the one right on the,
The one that I've talked about, when you park there, you gotta actually get over the
Yeah.
crossbar to see up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it should come out no matter if we were doing a sidewalk study or not.
Yeah, it's a large tree. It's getting older. I
Yeah.
think taking it down and replacing it, we could move a couple feet down, give us plenty of space for the crosswalk there.
I don't think commit to replacing it yet because, I mean, how far does it have to go towards the east before you can see by it?
Well, that would be a discussion to have.
I mean, this is also something for future things, but if a tree comes down, that does often open up options for stormwater mitigation.
Right.
opportunities in that area where the tree was doing maybe a, correct my terminology, but, a dry swale or some sort of, water retention. Kind of like they're doing in Burlington all over where they do the bump out and then there's just rocks that drain. So.
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, if it was, the only thing we were thinking about were safety. Say probably where we're showing it gets a slight edge. There's probably still a little bit better visibility, but at the same time, that's closer to these two driveways people come out of. It would only be a slight edge. Your other question, I think, was the cost of tree removal. Really depends on the size of the tree. $2,000-3,000 maybe for a larger tree. Not enough to probably drive the project cost,
Right.
but notable.
Yeah. The biggest thing, Jessica, at the moment in terms of its location is that tree and visibility and the fact that it doesn't go to anything on the other side. And so this would, by putting sidewalk in there, which we have support from the property owner, which is wonderful. We'd have somewhere to land. And so in either increasing the bump out, so we're stepping beyond the tree so we can see, or tree removal, gets us the safest possible solution.
Thanks.
And we don't have to mess with the drainage on the south side of the road.
Right.
And we're letting him keep his driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another good point, is it
Yeah.
does save us from moving that catch basin on the corner.
Okay. Fantastic. And in terms of, we talked about, we see here down at the bottom, we've got our normal straight parking. We talked about the angled parking last time, and I think, there we go. Magically it changed. Perfect. I think our discussions, there were various discussions, and I think if people have more feedback, I think they need to send that to AZ before this final round comes together and final presentation. I think given the support that we have from the state in terms of angled parking, given that we have angled parking throughout the village, and the safety, for my personal opinion, I think it's a good move to move towards the angled parking because it matches everything and it has state support. And it does offer a little bit more safety. It would start to match angled parking across the road at the post office, which would be nice. So my personal preference would be to keep investigating that and have that be part of the final project instead of the straight parking, because straight parking, I think, is the most difficult to get in and out of, no matter if you're pulling in straight and backing out or backing in and pulling out straight. It still causes confusion and difficulty with oncoming traffic.
In the emergency citizen comments and concerns to AZ?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here we go. And here I mentioned.
We'll take it later. I don't need, we're not gonna say. It's not bad. Positive.
Yeah,
First.
just kind of breaks down what the differences would be
Right.
between those two phases. Showing that you kind of get that extra space on the south end between the new sidewalk that we're showing and where traffic will be traveling, just adds a bit more of a buffer.
Great.
So
That's
you
a
don't need,
buffer on both, yeah.
yeah.
There's your math on paper.
Yeah.
2.5 feet longer on angle.
Yeah.
So if we go with the bottom picture, phase two, we have to slide the yellow line towards the gas pumps, right? To that section.
The yellow line will go north, away from the gas pumps towards the park.
I know so to go angle, you need to move it towards the north.
You don't necessarily need to move it, but that will achieve the other goal of giving the sidewalk more space. Because the angled parking, you don't require as much space to back out, so you can move the center line closer to the parking without risking people, crossing over the center line while they're pulling into or out of parking.
Yeah, and that gives us our 6-foot buffer on our new piece of sidewalk that is right by the pumps, which is nice.
Yeah.
That's gonna feel really nice walking across there and not feeling that you have traffic right next to you. Even if you have a buffer area or you have higher curbing, it's still to have traffic away from you when you're walking there, it will be very nice.
So
luckily that's all paint, so you
Right.
do it the first year, you could
Exactly.
wait, or you
Yeah.
could go back if you didn't like it.
Yeah, and we already have the established sort of the stamped concrete where we're joining it. Already established. We're obviously making that our grass area a little bit smaller, which is fine. It was quite large to start with anyway, so we can cut into that.
So I'm just trying to orient myself. We got 11-foot lanes in both of them. And you got 6 and 4. And 7.5 and 2. The numbers don't add up.
Well, with the angled parking, the actual length of the parking, perpendicular to the lane is 17.5. So it's half a foot shorter than the perpendicular parking space. And that 20 foot is calling out the length of the stripe on an angle, which is 20 feet, but it's only taking up 17.5 feet of the road.
You haven't measured my truck.
No, I have not.
At least 22 feet.
But these do match the existing angled parking that's
Great.
around other places in town. So if you fit into those spaces, you would fit in here. If you don't, then I'm sorry.
And take 4 of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, yeah,
You just, that is busy, full of cars when there's, church services, funeral, band concert. Anytime that park is used, 4th of July, obviously in those tanks. And probably a half or a third of that, at least a third of that traffic comes from the west and pulls in there. And where will that traffic go? Will they have to go up and around the back of the park? Will they have to go through Shaw's parking lot? So they want to park there so they can get angle parking? That's a concern that I have. About, half that traffic, a third of that traffic comes from the west to go to a function on the park. And they're gonna have to go, well, I gotta go up through Covers, around Shaw's, come out on North Street and come back so I get an angle spot. Or do like they do most of the time.
right, which is probably more
Or they're
than,
not-
probably more than likely what will happen.
Yeah.
But I think, similar to any
That
changes,
concerns me.
any changes we make to roads, either with sidewalks, you just have to adapt to those things.
It's no different than Main Street.
Yeah,
People cross the road.
Yeah.
Well, I
I
think there's a
what-
lot of different, Peter.
I think,
Main Street has a whole set of sites on the south side they can park in. We've got 3. in front
yeah,
of
but if
both
they're
sides.
going to the restaurant, one of the restaurants, everybody cut.
There ain't a restaurant in the park. You didn't hear what I said.
I
did you?
did hear exactly what you said. More people coming from the west to park on Main Street.
I know
on
they
the
do.
north side,
And we're gonna triple it.
than will happen there,
And we're gonna
is what I'm
triple it
saying.
there.
so send your concerns to AZ.
Yeah. But I just heard them.
Okay. Any other comments from the board, from the public?
Well, I have another one. How did you do the grade in front of the post office? You notice that post office sidewalk is 8-inch step. Is that still gonna be the sidewalk lower, or is it gonna be the height of that 8-inch step?
Between the road and the sidewalk, or between?
The edge of those parking spots, get out and walk on that sidewalk right by your finger there.
Yep, I don't know if it'll be.
There's a picture of the sidewalk at the post office. You had it earlier. You had it up here.
It was gonna be curbed. I don't know how tall the curb was gonna be.
So it should be gradual. It should meet, if it's an 8-inch step, it's 7-inch curb and an inch of pitch in the sidewalk, it'll be 8 inches.
Okay, so it'll be,
It'll be.
get out of the car, you step up on the sidewalk, which will be the same height as the post office sidewalk.
Did,
He had a picture of it. You had a picture. of it.
yeah, did you hear Eric's concerns about snow removal? Okay, so that, you already have that,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
okay.
and did Eric call y'all today?
He called me today and I missed the call, so I still have to.
No worries, yeah, I've put, Evan and Matt in touch with Eric, and I've also let him know about the snow removal aspect.
Yeah, I don't think it's the end of the world, we just have to have a plan for it. Right now, they just leave it stacked there, and then when they come and clean, they take it. But if
Down
it's
by
a
the church corner, you mean, bigger? Is that?
no, right in front of the post office.
Oh,
Because it, right now, it's straight right across there, and we're gonna have like an island. That doesn't mean the snow can't stay there, and it just won't have those parking places. They don't have those parking places when the snow's there now, so I don't
Yeah.
think it's the end of the world.
Just adapting.
Yeah.
In terms of ADA accessibility, at the moment, there's nothing in front of it now. if we're stepping out of the car to curb, where is the only ADA accessibility on the side, on that far west entrance?
So. I'm around this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you were to park, you'd have to do that.
So it's a
The post office, I believe, has their first parking spot as you go in the post office.
Correct.
It's an ADA one.
Yeah, but if you're coming from,
And they have two there?
The second one is.
Is it the second one?
yeah, if you're coming from the opposite side, there's nothing really. I guess if you're, well, let's say if you're coming from Holly Hall, you're gonna be on. You've got.
That's gotta be accessible
Yeah,
because
you
it
got
comes
that
up
anyway.
from the
You're
driveway.
going across, you're going a little bit higher, going down to almost asphalt height. And then you're back onto the curb. So yeah, it would only be if you're exiting a car. You just need to go around and you've got striped area, so you're safe access there. Okay.
The post office must have handicap parking.
They do, they get,
Yeah.
Chris, that.
Yeah.
And they have a
It's at
handicap.
the side, but there's nothing in terms of the front, just because it's.
Right, but they can't, you can't get there now.
Correct.
Is,
That's correct.
and with this, they'd have the option of.
Yeah, pulling. But at least the sidewalk will be raised, so you have it curved there. Okay, great.
There wouldn't be any further one way for the driver, whether they were in the first spot or the third spot.
Yeah,
They can go around the end of the either end.
okay. All right, so one more round.
What did you end up with in front of the gas pumps? Just a raised
Yeah, right there. Yeah, this will be
curb both sides?
raised and a good tall granite curb, 6 inches probably, maybe 8, just so I'm not gonna accidentally ride up on it.
Did you ever receive feedback, AZ, from property owner of that establishment?
No, I sent them a physical letter and a letter to an email address. I mean, I did find out they're right next to my orthodontist, so next time I'm hoping for my appointment, I can stop. Quite literally on the same road.
Just happened to be here.
Yeah. it's not-
Hey, I tried to get a hold of you.
Okay.
Do you have any concerns?
I mean. I like this proposal better because, and I think it'll all, even though it's gotten a little narrower at in front of Holly Hall. It'll stop that smaller car that's, yellow line waiting to turn left and the car's whizzing by them on the right. That'll stop that.
Well, it should calm traffic in that
Yeah.
intersection, tightening it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've definitely seen a lot of people pull some crazy maneuvers at that gas station. Which. If that's the way they wanna drive, go for it, but definitely some,
Not if Bruce is around.
not a person. Get them ready for the Holly Hall.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Okay,
We'll see, what we like to do is get all feedback to AZ.
Yeah.
That come back to us, let us make a report that we're all comfortable with being the final version, and then
Yeah.
we can endorse that one.
perfect. That sounds good. Any other questions before we wrap up?
Is just in front of the merchants, can we see that one? Or the community bank now? Keep calling it merchants until I'm dead, probably.
There you go.
I'm not here.
Yeah,
Yeah. So are one of those going to be, it's just all, it looks like there's 3 spots there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just gonna
And then
stay.
if they're open, the bus will pull in, but if they're not open, the
Yeah.
bus will still pull in.
Currently, the way the bus works, I've actually seen it happen. The bus, if there is spots, it pulls in, but if not, it just kind of pulls in a
Just
little bit
steps out of the
closer and then
road.
just stops there in the road. And that's, I think, why keeping these spots here as they are doesn't impact our public transit routes and honestly keeps them safe for everybody. So if they can pull in, great. If not, there's still that protection for.
People could still get by them.
yeah.
So, so the one in front of Holly Hall or Howden Hall in the church, you've brought that crosswalk from, it looks like where the stairs are of the church, the steps of the church, is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, that crosswalk is the same as it is.
Yeah,
like this.
it's always been there.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I like that there instead of being on the corner.
Well,
Yeah.
we've never had it on the.
No, we never have, but,
yeah, that remains the same.
okay.
And it's a little bit of cleanup in terms of the parking at Howden. Those spots stay the same with the being right there in front of the building, and then it's just a little bumping out. Try to straighten that out as best I can.
That's been wrong ever since the day they put it in. When I was on the village planning board, when they got approval, that was supposed to be a handicap spot in front of Houghton Hall.
All right.
Not now? I thought it was.
No, it is.
No, it was designed, you look at the old, it was one parallel parking parallel, not three like that. That was, of course, back in the early eighties. That was on the board.
Yeah, well, V-Trans changed that.
Yeah, they did.
Because it wasn't compliant,
Right.
because we didn't have the isolation between the crosswalk and the first parking spot. So that's how we made it handicap.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you. We look forward to seeing the final ones. Thanks. Thank you very much, both of you, for coming down. Thank you, AZ. All right. More wall decoration for you.
I'm literally looking soft to all my poster. Just you wait.
We've got some wall space. Okay. We ever hear from Michelle?
No,
Is it, she's not on as Michael, is she? I assume not. She's usually on as Nick.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that's somebody else.
Madison.
And you haven't heard, no one's received a text from her?
I don't even have my
Did I
phone
receive
and
a
I
text
left it
from
at
her?
home. See you.
Great, thank you so much. Safe drive back. Okay. So that'll be, we'll do a formal vote of acceptance for the final report at a future meeting. Moving on. 5B. So we have a whole bunch of appointments, reappointments for town officers. I think I'll just share this and then we can just read through. Our first will be a meet and greet with Allison Ross. Hi, Allison Ross. Let's have you come up to the frontier. And Allison can tell us what she's applying for.
Hi, it's nice to meet you all. So I moved to Bristol this past December and I was hoping to join the crew who are working on cyclists and pedestrians.
Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee.
Yeah, exactly. So I've attended 2 of their sessions already. People are great on the crew and definitely sounded like they were hoping to get more people on the board. So yeah, I'm applying for that.
Do you have any history or related experience or expertise in terms of that particular committee? Or what that committee does?
This will be my first time joining a
Give it down over
there. Sorry. This will be the first time joining a town committee like this. I'm originally from Montreal. I moved to Burlington, Vermont 20 years ago to work at a design studio called JDK up in Burlington. So when you ask for my experience with cycling, like I've definitely worked on a lot of cycling runs for sure. Being from Montreal, and then also living in Portland, Oregon, New York City, I've actually been car free for the last 14 years. So big time pedestrian and cyclist. So the idea of coming and being part of the crew that helps make Bristol safe for those who want to go on 2 wheels or by foot is something I'd be really passionate about.
Bristol's a very pedestrian bicycle based community. So.
Yeah, and I'm super excited to see the sidewalks. Yeah. Because I'm right next to the Creamy Stand, actually, 73 West Street.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so I
This side of it or the other side?
Oh, no, I have to run across the street to get onto the sidewalk.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm looking.
Oh, so you're on that corner house.
Yeah, I agree.
With the second little building, is that
With
right?
the second little building.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent, yeah, it's a lovely spot.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board for Allison?
We have an opening always.
We have what?
We have an opening.
We have,
Yes.
Okay.
yes, for a term of 3 years.
Oh, what a separate.
I'm ready for it.
That's good. Yeah, any questions? Jessica, any questions from you?
No, just to say thank you and welcome to the committee.
Thank you so much. And I should also mention, Chris Dubika is a dear friend of mine for the last 20 years, as well as Brad Cameron, and they're both on the board.
Yeah, great.
That's how I got connected.
Good, that's great. I move to appoint Allison Ross to the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee for a term of 3 years.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All those against, nay? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
So,
Enjoy your time on that committee.
thank you, thank you.
Okay. So that was our top one with someone here. Most of these, let me share this out so that you can see it all, are reappointments. Let's see. See that again. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
Okay. That better? So, these are mostly reaching out to either chairs of committees, commissions, to have them speak with their folks on the committee, or us reaching out and double checking and seeing if people want to serve. So we have conservation, design review, development review board, energy equipment, a bunch of different ones. So we can just, my thinking was just, I can make a motion just for per commission. Generally, we've done it all together, but I kind of want to get it for record just to, so we have a nice record of it in terms of just saying, yes, appoint everyone. But if anyone has any concerns, so we've got Gail Klein has, she's going to step off the Conservation Commission, so I thank her for her service on that. We've got, let's see, who else is stepping? I'd like to thank Richard Butts for his long service on the Energy Committee, all the work he's put in. Thank you very much. Equipment, we have you as ex officio. We also have Greg, town administrator, on equipment, and Eric on equipment. Ken Johnson, he reached back to me and said he'd be interested. I haven't heard back from the other folks on that committee.
Randy Sargent or Pete Bouvier.
Or Pete Bouvier or Alan Clark. And I don't know.
Alan's in Florida.
Okay.
Peter
so
did see me.
We can update. You know,
Peter
in
did
a
see me
couple
this
weeks and
weekend.
things
He
like
said
that.
he forgot to get back to you, but
Okay,
he'd be glad to get back.
Okay, perfect. So we can put him on as well. Revolving loan, we've had Teresa, I'm waiting to hear back from Bill Sayre, but Teresa said she would do that. We also have a lister, so Patty didn't put in her form for town meeting day and voting, so we would decide to appoint her.
Can we appoint her for 3 years, or can we only appoint her till the next election?
1 year.
Oh, okay. Sure. Okay, good to know. Thank you very much. Okay, so that we can do that.
This she'll run for a 2-year term to make it balance out,
To complete the term.
complete the term, yes.
I spoke with Michael, who's our emergency management director. He was interested in doing another 1-year term for that. I spoke to Pete Coffey about the emergency management deputy director, and he, because of his time away now, he preferred to step down from that role. So that's currently vacant. So we need to find someone in the deputy director role if we feel that that's necessary. And what was the last one?
I'm not even sure what we necessary.
No? Okay.
Michael's great.
Okay.
This was old.
Yes, right. Yes. He's very.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, so I'd like to thank.
Or
Pete
we could
Coffey.
probably bump him to just deputy.
Well, we've got deputy is lower.
Oh, my bad.
Right, so I think we keep him, but if we needed a second.
Right.
I mostly it was always because it was the town administrator handling that role, and in case they weren't able to do it, you had that deputy, but I think, as you said, we have someone who's in that role who's more than qualified, and so I think and with yourself as well, I think we're more than covered in terms of that. So I'll thank Pete Coffey for his service as the deputy director. And then we have Carolyn Dash as the Green Up Day coordinator.
I was gonna look both of them up last week and I didn't. I was right in their neighborhood.
Oh, you were? Yeah. So, and then the only other one we have for Development Review Board, we don't usually do this, but on advice from our attorney, we're gonna not reappoint a particular person just because they also serve on the Planning Commission. We had an overlap at one point. appointed many years ago. And I think it's best to not have sort of cross-pollination, especially on those two committees. And I've spoken with that person. They were going to resign anyway because they know that their time, they've had difficult time making meetings because of personal reasons, and so they're fine with that. So
They're still gonna do the planning commission.
and they're still on planning commission, yes, and for another, I think, 2 years. And that seems fine. And speaking with the two chairs of those boards and speaking with AZ, that's all fine, and that's good.
So
So,
that Raul Tetro will go from alternate to.
yes, so Ron's currently an alternate, but has been attending the meetings and is interested in being appointed to a full member, and that was AZ's recommendation. So I think we would do that, and then that particular committee could search for alternates and other members as needed. Any questions, Jessica?
None so far.
Okay. So I'm gonna go through and just say names quickly, and then with commissions, and then we'll just go through, if that's okay with everyone here. Or I could just do one massive one. I don't know what the legality of that is, just to appoint what's here.
That's the way we've done it in the
Okay.
past. I mean,
I mean,
as long as we have a written
Yeah.
record.
I guess it's this, so I think that'll be fine.
Make sure you amend it for Patty's.
Yes, so let's do Patty separate. So I would move to reappoint Patricia King as a lister for a term of 1 year.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, and then apart from that, I think everyone else is correct. And I thank the people who have served, who are stepping down. But I would make a motion to accept as written, the reappointments to the Conservation Design Review, Development Review Board, Energy Committee, Equipment Committee, Planning Commission, Revolving Loan Fund, Emergency Management Director, and the Green Update Coordinator.
Adding Pete over to the equipment committee.
And add Pete Bouvier to the Equipment Committee for 1 year.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those for the discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those. Terrific.
Do
Thank
we
you.
have any others that we need to fill
We have a few more that I'm waiting to hear back from, and then we can determine what our vacancy rate is, and then we can reach out to chairs and things like that.
So I emailed you one, you need to decide by the end of April on Maple Broadband. So maybe
Oh, yeah.
appointed to that.
Okay, yeah, that was Ben Slows, but he was on there. I can talk to him and see if he wants to
Okay.
continue.
That'd be right up your alley, Ian.
them?
Okay, fantastic, thank you. All right, let's see, so moving on. So that was 5B. 5C, we're gonna take that off, which was a water commission item. And so
That's because we already decided on that, correct?
Well, I
Or
have a
we-
question on that.
well, so let's ask our town administrator about that. The water commission one, 5C, I don't know, what was the reason we were taking that?
So they had already applied years ago and were approved.
Ah.
The only difference is we changed the ordinance since then.
Ah.
So we're gonna amend their original approval.
Okay.
So that they meet.
As I said,
Yeah.
I figured I knew we'd already done it.
Okay,
Okay, so it's not really a big deal.
Okay.
Get them to compliance and.
I guess I have a question is, do we own that line down North Middle Lane?
No, they're putting in a new one, a 2-inch line. That we left a 2-inch tap.
Right, I
To
knew
the
we did,
curb.
okay, that's
They're
where,
gonna put a meter pit in and then go down and put in.
I was thinking the one going down Terry Thomas's and Tony's old place, there's there's two curb stops down there.
Yeah.
That's what okay,
Yeah, this is.
I thought they were tapping off that.
good, well, if that's done, That's great.
Quick comment, it's actually an 8-inch tap that's there. They're gonna take that 8 and bring it down to a 2 and come into a meter pit with it.
perfect.
Yep, it's just getting them in compliance with the current construction specifications and ordinance.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jill.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks, Jill. Okay, so instead of 5C, we're gonna do a 5C with Dylan Verner, for our hub director, and you have a grant application, so come on up and give us a few details.
5CA.
5CA. 5DEC.
Hello, Dylan Verner. I am your hub director. I am coming forward because I have would like to apply for a grant through the United Way Addison County. It will be for $20,000. It's a non-matching grant. So it will come solely in partnership with United Way. Now, this is a educational partnership, and we seek to expand our programming at the hub. We're doing very well with our numbers and with the increase in it. I also want to make sure that we're supporting our students after school with tutors, with an area for public speaking, one-act plays, for shows that can bring new groups of people into our environment and to up our numbers, because I do think that's important, because we also have and host a lot of resources that our teens and their families can utilize in order to make their lives more safe and secure, and more continuity. With this grant, I've written out the letter of interest, and I'm kind of preemptively asking this because the application fell in a time in between. In applying the letter of interest, if in your review of it, you do not want to go forward with it, please let me know and I will retract my letter of interest. But I do believe that this will be a huge benefit to the hub, to what we're aiming to accomplish there.
Do you have any
No,
insight?
we need more resources.
Yeah.
And there's no match.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
also, we want to continue to build relationships with our external partners like United Way.
Yeah.
And we would certainly thank them if they accept.
If they accept it, I think it would be very beneficial, and they have in the past supported the hub in many ways, and they
Yeah.
look to continue that relationship with them going forward.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with that. So what's your timeline in terms of applying? You're applying very soon, right?
Yeah, so on Friday, the letter of interest went out.
Okay.
With that, I am meeting with Frida tomorrow to go over in generality and for this one
Okay.
about how our process goes, because I want to make sure, keep things tidy for you guys. And with that, I just have a couple more pieces to bring into their application.
Would it be approved for 1 July?
It will be,
When would it go with
it will be July
that?
that it'll be dispersed. The timeline is, I'm trying to sign it on this sheet, but they'll be doing, this week they're doing the reviews on the letters of interest.
Yeah.
Following month, they will be doing site reviews, coming in, seeing our programming, everything that we're doing, making sure that the partnership for the education grant is appropriate.
Yeah.
And then they will make that decision. Upon decision making, they, I believe it's in June, they'll do the partner agreements and then dispersal in July.
Right.
And that will be dispersed in even portions over 3 years.
Okay. So it's not a reimbursement grant. It gets to it. You get to spend it.
I get to spend it, and within without a lot of data support, it's basically like, show us that you're doing your programs, that you're doing well, that it's functioning well for your community, and leading to the connections that we need.
So what kind of reporting do you need to do? Any extensive reporting?
No extensive reporting.
Right.
I can help you free.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And who is it for materials for teaching, or
So
is it for
kind of-
people?
It's very open-ended. It's how you want to model it to, we want to create environments that are ready to learn, quality education. So in our position, because we're an after-school program for our teens, one of the things that I've seen as a limitation for some teens is that they don't have tutorship. If they're falling behind in their studies and they need a tutor, I want to make sure that we can provide that. If you need counseling, I want to make sure that we have a space where you can get some counseling, whether that's from Turning Point, Atria Collective, CSAC. We want to build a really strong relationship with those partners and an internal side, so that we have those resources for our teens and for the parents. And we also want to aim towards lifelong learning, teaching kids how to learn, creating curiosity. And I feel like we've already advanced the environment for them to be able to have open access to arts, music, cooking. We've got a lot of really great facilities. And there's just a few more things I'd love to add into the inside that I think can really bolster, again, attendance, sport, and a good levying with our general community. Because I want to bring our general community into our space because they're mentors, because they're advocates for our teens, and they can help with apprenticeships. We can help get these kids into better learning situations using these funds.
Right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Like entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to apply for a $20,000 no match grant to United Way for the Bristol Hub. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those against, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you very much.
Glad we could put this on this evening.
I appreciate it.
All right. About time, 7 o'clock, 5D, Select Board Roundtable. Jessica, what do you have for this evening?
Oh, there's Michelle.
Nothing new. I wasn't sure about that either.
Because I thought we talked last meeting that we were gonna start this meeting at 7.
Yep, but I think now it's not till April.
The reason it was left at 7 is because material had already gone out.
Left at 6, you mean?
Left at 6, sorry. Left it at 6 was material had already gone out from planning and zoning with regard to the presentation on the west side, street scoping study. And so rather than change it and adapt, we just kept this meeting at 6 and we'll do 7 o'clock for the next meeting. So I apologize. I did that. It was on the, but I didn't highlight that. I apologize.
That's the first thing I read.
I had to look at that one more time this morning.
I know.
Or
Again, another reason to keep it always at 7 o'clock and never change it, which I think we can probably do because I think we're going to be more efficient in terms of our budgeting and things like that. We didn't have our double meetings this year at all because of how efficient it went. So I can imagine that the same thing would happen with the time change where we wouldn't need to necessarily go earlier because we were going to get things done.
If we do, I'm dead. So.
Okay, Michelle, do you have anything for Select Board Roundtable this evening?
Nope.
It's going to be a very short meeting for you, Michelle. Fantastic.
Yeah, it will be.
Joel.
Just, can we get the base camp? I still can't open that in, and
Okay.
if you can just send them the stuff you want us to see in a PDF. Or I don't know. I know Peter's having some difficulty opening it.
They're in, most of them come in PDF form.
Yes.
And they can open them.
Cause I went to those, you had about 7 of them or 8 of them on.
Yeah.
This past week, and I turned and it says you gotta Google or some Safari.
Base camp, yeah, when it goes there.
And I'm just, okay, guess I won't know today.
That's fine. So I can send it to you just to your email versus, I'll still do Basecamp because I think, just to have it all up there, but I can email it. So you can access your Select Board email, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So I can just send you those. And almost everything we do is PDF anyway. So I can either send you the links or send you the files.
Do you guys have access to OneDrive or anything?
Yeah.
You all?
Eventually will.
One day.
No, I mean, the next probably 30 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
With
You're gonna give me more stuff I gotta learn?
It's actually gonna simplify it right down for you.
Good.
Yeah, that's great. So we can work towards that. But I can email.
That's all.
You can dummy Peter stuff down to my level? I don't know. He said he's not gonna go that far.
I text for in tech education for years. I can work with you.
Peter, do you have it?
Yeah, two things. We got that. Did everybody get the letter from VLCT about the plot? Taking the plot, it's the local option, it's their share of the local option tax.
Yeah, I sent that out.
Oh, you did? I haven't read that.
Okay, so
they're trying to pop in and scoop the pilot on the localized option tax.
yeah, they want to take $3.4 million for the reappraisal fund.
Yep.
And VLCT is against that. And I'm curious as to why VLCT is getting involved in politics and budgeting for the state. I mean, I guess that
Peter, I understand. The state wants to take the 1% or whatever percentage that they take from the lot tax for the towns and take a portion of that and put it to the reappraisal fund?
there's $15 million in that account. Last year they did it, they wanna do it again this year, and VLCT is saying that money should come from the general fund because that's where their budget is. I guess the other thing that VLCT is saying is that that money should go back to the towns that it came from, so if that's the case, why do they even take 25% for administrating it? I mean, I'm,
I mean, we
So-
would love to have it back, but
but I guess in my eyes, we did this knowing that that 25% went to it, and it's not, obviously, it's not like our percentage of the lot that is specified where it goes.
No,
Right now, it seems like that money's just sitting in a fund and they spend it how they wanna spend it.
no, it's for the payment in lieu of taxes. It's the pilot program. So almost all of that 25% goes towards that. And we get $500 back because we have a little bit of land over at Bristol Pond that's owned by the state. So we get a little bit back. Towns that have government
Waterbury,
buildings
Montpelier.
and other larger tracts of land, they get a larger amount back. So that's where that goes. There's a very small administrative fee, but it's almost all of that 25% is part of that program. So I think they probably have maybe more than necessary, and that's why they're using it for the reappraisal perhaps, or repositioning where that money can be used. But I don't think it's just sitting there unused. It is part of that program. It's all accounted for. But I'll have to dig into that, what you're talking about. I haven't.
Just
what
curious,
reappraisal fund are they looking to fund?
wide reappraisal fund.
I wanna raise the amount that they pay towns for reappraisals.
I mean,
Like the town reappraisals, the individual towns?
Yeah.
We get so much a parcel.
They get $8.50 a parcel currently. They wanna keep that at $8.50 a parcel, but also at $65 per parcel per town in whatever the time frame is that they set for the reappraisal process, is how I read that this morning.
So they basically would be paying for a reappraisal?
A portion thereof. Because it's still still doesn't cover the full cost of the appraisal. The appraisal, even at $8.50, I think the article said the appraisal's around $30 a parcel to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Was it better? It was pretty close.
Yeah, you're about right, yeah.
Well, I'm just, you know, I understand it's state politics and it's really not our bailiwick, but I'm wondering why VLCT is getting involved in that when they're basically our guidance and our insurance. They're not. Why is this group of people wanting to dictate where state monies is spent unless there's money that is supposed to go to them that they're not getting?
Yeah, I think they're gonna have some sort of presentation about it. If I read that correctly, and I would hope that they would better articulate the argument, because it does. It's like, okay.
I just don't, you know,
Yeah.
I don't. I said it, I don't understand why they're getting involved in politics and
If I could read between the lines, figure, I think now, I've heard that. Because the education department, the governor's taking some of the money out of what's the 1% or 1 cent of the sales tax goes to education. Out of transportation, you purchase and use tax, 25% that goes to education. He's bringing, because the transportation department is so strapped for cash right now. And we can see it because we aren't getting more money for our roads from the state, and paving went from $75, $80 a ton a few years ago to $125, $150 a ton now. And I think that's why that's VLTC. I read somewhere in BT Digger or one of them that said that because they think the education department's gonna say, wow, this lieu of taxes has got a lot of money, maybe we ought to send some to education.
Well, I just don't, I don't understand why VLCT is getting involved in that aspect of the budget.
I agree
And
with
so
that
I guess
100%.
my question was just to see what the board felt or what the board thought. I mean,
Sounds like we need to dig into it a bit more in terms of the detail. And if they're gonna give a presentation, we'll see what their angle is.
All our stuff, by the way, was sent up to the state for localized option tax, so we're good, and they'll be sending stuff out to local businesses. So we're all sort of.
We'll be good to go.
They will let us know when they send the letters out to the businesses, but for now, we're set.
Great.
And when is that supposed to start? July 1?
July.
Yeah. July 1, and then 3 months later, Should.
We get a check.
We get a check.
And may I
Or
add,
sharing.
Your check will be in the mail.
Yeah.
may I,
Oracle maybe or something.
And
Let's
I-
hope it's through the portal and not through the mail, because then maybe we actually will get it.
Yeah.
and may I add that it was either Vermont Daily Chronicle or Vermont VT Digger that I read that they made a comment about, a lot of towns passed it and said it was good to see that Bristol actually did some climate and,
Yeah, they said, and I quote,
what was it?
oddly enough, because they talked about another town that hadn't planned for those type of things. And then they talked about Bristol and said, oddly enough, the town of Bristol added climate resiliency as a bucket with them, don't look as a.
It's our new leadership, boy, he's right on top of it.
So I thought it was, they recognized it. I thought it was nice.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
And then, the other thing was paving. We had a discussion about what paving gets done and when, and, I had a conversation with Eric and his plan, unless we come up with something different, is basically to follow the water around for the next 4 years and pave that, and then only, do patches where they need to be done elsewhere. He just wanted everybody to be aware that that's his current plan unless he hears otherwise.
I
So,
talked to Eric, this morning, actually, not that it changes it, what you said, you're right, but. We're gonna start having a more formalized, like a 5-year look, so we can start. Understanding where it costs to be in the future, and we can kind of start prioritizing work instead of just.
well, I knew that's where you were going, but he said this is what he wanted to do, so I figured I would
Well, it's
just,
probably it'll be based on.
Yeah.
that as well, so.
yeah. And I think that's it.
Okay, I have one thing I'm working on at the recommendation of the town administrator. I'm looking at our current policies. We have a lot of them that we've created over decades. And I want to look at those and do a full assessment of those, especially with the eye of looking at it from an audit perspective, since we know that that's going to be a big thing that's going to be happening with us, especially single audits over the next at least 5 years for different projects. And so making sure that we either need to reevaluate some of our policies, add new policies, perhaps take away policies, update policies, things like that.
It'd be nice if we could get rid of some.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think we can. There's like a Y2K one that we can probably get rid of.
Well, we really need to update a lot so that they're in alignment with what we will technically be audited for.
Correct.
With all these problems.
Yeah, and at first glance, looking at those and doing some research, we are definitely out of compliance for a few, but especially related to auditing, so we definitely need to put those, bring them to the table quicker than others, perhaps. So I'll be working on that with the town administrator, and we'll bring it to the table. We'll do internal reviews and then start bringing in more. So it's really nice.
Greg, did you send him the letter from the state regarding the document we sent them?
Cash
And they
loan.
said, yeah, and what they said need a little bit,
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I haven't worried about that.
okay,
Yeah.
because I think we need a little bit more there, it's kind
A
of
little more substance.
a little bit, so, yeah, we gotta make sure we do the training, and then they wanted us to add some days.
Got
Or
it.
something within the policy or whatever.
Okay, we can absolutely do
Okay, great.
And that's our newest one,
that. Yeah, the cash management policy.
Okay.
just we had.
We never had one before, now we got one. What more do they want?
All right. Okay, that's good for a select board roundtable. 5E town administrator's report.
Just for 2 big things, our loan for 3.95 million. Was processed at the Agency of Natural Resources, it was passed down to the Vermont Bond Bank for underwriting. We anticipate 4 to 6 weeks for that. Also, the Vermont Bond Bank meets March 26th, so it's Thursday, should go over our application as well, so. Should know pretty quickly where we're at with that. Holly Hall and Lawrence Memorial Library are both undergoing deconstruction, everything's going great. Staff have adapted to some changes with that, but overall are holding it down and doing well with the changes, and our partnership with Silver Lake has been working out pretty well, so.
No huge surprises yet,
Not yet. Well, actually, I mean, they opened everything up in there, and there's some small things that,
but nothing that's alarming.
Nothing huge change orders,
you know, so.
And
I
nothing,
did see that. About 5 or 6 feet, the whole length of the north side of the library, now I go.
Yeah.
Five more
well,
down right down to the wood.
The underside looks good.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to check on that this week, see how they're doing. No surprises in the library too. They've been working downstairs in the children's area, cutting away a whole section of the wall all the way around so they can re-insulate. And we met and discussed just the systems over there, the quiet room, figuring out how to do certain pieces and what's going to remain. That went really well. But yeah, hopefully we'll see. They won't discover too much rot. We know that there's more rot, obviously, on the outside of that building than here. We know that there's a couple.
Bricks don't rot.
No, couple of roof.
Houses right now.
Couple of roof issues for the library, but not as bad as they thought. So that was positive. So yeah, all very good. I think it's a good group of people that are working in both spots, and we've been doing our end of week meetings with Hunter, and that's been going well. So yeah, been very smooth.
Greg, I have a question on the
I get that way too, Sharon. Don't feel bad.
the approval on Thursday, when will we actually have documents saying that our bond is approved?
4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks?
Yeah.
So we can't do anything with the bond anticipation on it until we actually have approval from the bond bank. So I don't know when they're planning on buying materials, but need to keep that in mind.
Anything else?
No, at the end of April.
Item 6, other business, correspondence reports, correspondence received, and nothing on mine.
Hey, Ian, did you guys talk about the town meeting stuff, the non-binding, or are we gonna do that at another meeting?
We haven't discussed it at this meeting. Is there something particular?
No, I missed the meeting, so I just want to make sure I didn't miss that discussion.
There's no discussion. Do you want to bring it in terms of an agenda item? I know that you had sent some emails about it after town meeting. Is there a that you want to take?
Well, I think we got to decide what direction we're going to go. So, if we're going to have a discussion about it, and there's some legal ramifications, we need to have it in executive session.
Okay. I'll connect with you.
Okay.
And we can how we want to approach that.
But I think it's neat, the agenda, if we're gonna, so people will see the agenda and say, oh, they're gonna talk about maybe revamping.
Yeah. We need to sort of figure out a direction we want to go and
Right.
what we're able to do.
Yeah.
So am I gonna be included as part of that, since that's part of the election law, because you can't prevent people submitting petitions?
I know that's all part of it. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we need to figure out.
I hadn't heard about it.
No, it was an email that was sent, and just, is there a way to change how that is formatted to make it just an easier organization for next year's town meeting if the same kind of thing happened? But we know that there are very strict legal things set in place for statute in terms of public submitted petitions for things. But it's the ability to be able to, I think, have better control in the meeting, I guess, because we spent, half an hour at the top of the meeting in our discussion of town officer events with a particular item because it wasn't put on the agenda. And that, so it was a mainly discussion from that, like, how do we improve these things so that doesn't happen, so we don't feel that it's now taken over a meeting with a particular item, no matter what it is, and we can get through the meeting with the business that we're supposed to be saying. But yes, absolutely. I think you're an integral part of that discussion.
Yeah, because he kind of blames me for that, because I told him what to do, that, this is what you gotta meet, and then it goes through you guys, so.
Yes. Okay, we can talk about that, yeah. Yeah, I think that's, further discussion. Item 7, executive session,
Yes, please.
Oh, okay.
Personnel.
Okay. So let's see. I make a motion to enter executive session. The ESA, section 313A3 for personnel. Anyone else we're bringing in, town administrator?
Town administrator, yeah.
Okay.
He's part of the crew.
And including the town administrator, Gregory Faust. Need a second for that?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Nay? Motion carries. We're in executive session. All right. That's
Never get rid of some.
Yeah. All right. Let's see, that's me. Oh, that's me. That's good. Okay, that's me. We're gonna.
We're still recording, or we're still recording.
Right, I was gonna